Welcome to the Know-How video series for users of the Avaya Collaboration Designer snap-in. This is part 2 of a two-part demonstration which showcases some of Collaboration Designer's advanced features. Just to remind you, we are building this real-life workflow which defines the process by which subscription requests to a theatre's free What's On guide are received, confirmed, and added to a database. The workflow starts when a subscription requester submits their name and mailing address via a form on the theatre's website, plus at least one of their email address or phone number. If the requester provides an email address, an automated email is sent to that address containing the URL of another web page that the requester must visit to confirm their identity. If the requester provides a phone number only, an automated call is made to that number, and on answer, a pre-recorded message is played inviting the called party to press 1 on their keypad to confirm that they did make the request. Once confirmed by either method, the requester's name and address are added to a database. In part 1, we defined the email path. In this part, we're going to build out the phone path and complete the workflow definition. To start, double-click to open the Make One Party Call Tasks Properties dialog. The calling party number is a constant value and is entered here. The called party number, or target value, is a variable, so select Input Mapping and set it to the phone number provided by the requester and previously stored as a variable. Whenever a call is made, the system assigns it a unique identifier which we need to store in the variables object for use in later tasks. Select Output Mapping. Notice that, to save time, the schema for storing phone path variables has already been created in the variables object. Link the system-generated UCID to the call identifier variable to store it. Once the call is made, the workflow must wait until the requester answers it. To facilitate this, we need to add a receive task. Configure the task to wait until it receives a call-answered call event. This is a standard event predefined in the event library. We also need to ensure that the call-answered event relates to the specific call made by the previous task in the workflow. To do this, set the criterion to call, select Input Mapping, and link the call identifier variable to the task's call filter input value. In this way, the workflow will only proceed when a call-answered event is generated for the appropriate call. When the call is answered, the system plays a pre-recorded message prompting the requester to press 1 on their keypad to confirm their subscription request or any other digit not to confirm. This is achieved using the Play and Collect task. In the Tasks Properties dialog, enter the URI where the pre-recorded message is stored. Set the number of digits to be collected to 1. Define the call participants to whom the message is to be played, in this case just the called party, and complete the other property settings. Next, to specify the call into which the message is to be injected, select Input Mapping and link the phone identifier variable to the task's UCID input value. Finally, we need to store the DTMF digit entered by the requester in the variables object for later inspection. To do this, select Output Mapping and link the digit's value output by the system to the DTMF digit selection variable. After a DTMF digit has been collected from the requester, terminate the call using the Drop Call task. The only configuration needed is to map the call identifier variable to the task's UCID input value like so, thus ensuring the appropriate call will be terminated. What happens next depends on whether or not the requester confirmed their request. If they did confirm, we'll update the subscription database with their name and address. If they didn't, we'll log a message and terminate the workflow. Because there are two possible paths, only one of which should be taken, we'll add an exclusive gateway to the workflow definition, like so. We'll also add a log message task and configure it to write an appropriate warning message to the log. Then link the gateway to the log message and update DB tasks to define the possible paths. To define the conditions under which the update database path is followed, double-click on the appropriate link from the exclusive gateway to open the Condition Properties dialog. Set the sequence number to 1 to ensure that the conditions on this path will be tested first, and click Condition to open the expression editor. This path should be taken if the DTMF digit selection variable is equal to 1. Use the editor to build the required expression and check that it is valid. Then save and OK to close. You don't need to specify any conditions on the log message path, as it will always be taken if the update database path isn't. Before we complete the workflow definition, let's consider what would happen if, for example, a requester doesn't answer a call. To handle this possibility, add a message boundary event to the receive task and configure it to listen for a call-ended event generated by the call made by the make one-party call task. If this event occurs before the call is answered, log a message by linking the message boundary event to the log message task and terminate the workflow. Finally, let's take a look at the update DB task. To save time, the task's properties have already been configured. The requester's name and mailing address will be added to the database administered by System Manager with profile ID 3. Using the Input Data Mapping editor, the name and address variables stored in the variables object are mapped to the input param1 and input param2 values, which are added to the database. Looking at the now completed workflow definition, you can see that all paths link to an end event as required. That ends part 2 of this two-part exploration of some of Collaboration Designer's more advanced features. The first part of the demonstration and other videos in this series are available to view at the URLs shown.